Fearing for her children's lives, Patience MENKAM packed her bags and traveled for 3 days in the bush to safety. Her children don't understand why her father, a cocoa farmer, was shot dead by the police they thought were meant to protect them. Do you understand what's happening, she asks. Do you know why we left our home? Yes, Joseph answers. It's war. This is the region she left behind. Armed separatists here call this Ambazonia. They see it as an English-speaking country struggling for independence from a French-speaking nation. But for the government, this is an armed insurgency in the country's north and southwest region. 3,000 people have died. Human rights organizations accuse both armed separatists and security forces of torture, killings, and kidnappings.
For 4 years, the child in the house, she's not going to school. Nothing. So we are pleading. We need Paul Biya to look into our problem, to look into our cry. People are dying every day. People are not moving around. We don't have peace.
Ahead of municipal and parliamentary elections, Paul Biya's government passed a new law offering more autonomy to the regions, but this falls short to the separatist ambitions, who want full independence or at least a federal state. They've called for a boycott of the elections. Fearing more violence, many are leaving the English-speaking regions. Some have fled to neighboring Nigeria. Others are coming here to the economic capital, Douala. The Norwegian Refugee Council estimates that there are about 1 million people that have been displaced from this conflict, calling it one of the most neglected displacement of people in the world. People here, 400 people, share this small quarters. People are suffering from malaria, tuberculosis. Now, most of the people here cannot go back home, and so they cannot vote, and yet they have the most at stake in this election. With the main opposition party boycotting the vote, the government is urging people to take part in this election.
The president has called on security forces to be deployed so that people feel safe to express themselves and so that they will keep a watch before, during and after the vote.
The Anglophone regions are on lockdown. Airports and borders are closed. Cameroon is on high alert because in this vote at stake is the credibility of the country's democracy in a nation looking for unity. 180 seats are up for grabs in the parliament. More than 300 mayoral seats are also up for grabs. There's about 1,000 candidates taking part in this election. So despite the calls for boycott from the main opposition figure and some of the separatists, there are many people, many young candidates who are taking part in this election, hoping to be the change that many had hoped for would come from the political elite. Paul Biya, who has been in power for a very long time, has been holding on to power, and his political party has always had the majority in parliament and among these mayoral seats. But in December, he changed the legislation, giving more power to the regional offices. And so in this election, what's at stake is these particular seats. And I spoke to one voter just moments ago. He says electricity, schools, infrastructures, issues that are important to local people. This is what's at stake in this election. Back to you, Sammy.
All right, thanks so much. Nicolas Haque there.